Before there were beauty aisles, cooking sprays, 15-step skincare routines, there was butter, tallow, and a woman who knew what to do with both. Welcome to Womenfolk Revival, where we are deeply rooted and wildly intentional. And just to forewarn you, today's episode is full of saturated fat, strong opinions, and absolutely no apology for butter. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Mira. And after listening to you say that, it makes me think about something that I've been thinking about for a while. Since when did we become so afraid of fat? It's something that I've been thinking about with our grandparents who cooked with butter, people who used to save cream and render tallow. Nothing was wasted. These weren't
Mm-hmm.
specialty foods or trends or everyday foods. And somewhere along the way, we all started fearing these things that had been nourishing our families for generations. So how did we get there? That's my question.
Yeah, fat became the enemy, and then they introduced industrial processed replacements as a healthier option. And, think about that. So butter became dangerous
hmm
when chemically produced, spreadable, whatever became
hmm
profitable. It's convenient, right?
It is. Um, I'm at a loss for words because of how we have gotten to this point in our lives where we were taught that butter is bad for you. It's too much
Mhm.
fat. Fat is actually really good for us. And I give my kids butter to eat. Now, with where I'm at in perimenopause, more fat is not good. Actually, we need to be doing more protein with little bits of fat, but we still need to incorporate that fat with the protein, just not as much. But um, fats are fats are really good for us. And what's really interesting is my favorite is tallow. Butter's always been in my refrigerator. Cream has always been in my refrigerator. But the idea of just taking beef fat and turning that into something that you could keep in a jar and cook with that once it's open doesn't have to be refrigerated was
Yeah.
completely new to me. And then here's my husband at home just rendering fat in the oven. you know, um, I was kind of like blown away, like, you can actually do that. I thought it was going to be this huge long project. I thought it was going to smell terrible, which is everything I hear now that I talk about tallow. People saying, "Oh, it's going to smell and it's going to be messy and it's going to take forever." And then when he did it and he cooked it down and strained it and he poured it into jars, that was pretty much it. Um,
Hmm.
I remember standing there in the kitchen thinking that people used to know how to do things like this without having to do a tutorial or figure out how to do it online, or seeing that it's now a trend because it's good for us, but it is good for us.
It's so
So,
good for us. We
yeah.
um we started with tallow. My husband hunts, and he got a female one year, and she was pretty fatty. And he goes, "Hey, I think we can make some tallow from this."
Hmm.
And I because we had talked about it before, but we didn't
Mhm.
really know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah?" "Yeah." I'm like, "Let's do it." And we did, and it was fantastic. And then the next year, we didn't luck out in that way. We didn't have, like, a lot of fat from the deer, and he would get beef fat anyways to mix with the deer meat for, like, burgers and, ground
Yeah.
beef, that sort of thing. So, he decided to get a super large amount, and then we made tallow from that as well. Both very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They are pretty
but we use it
similar.
for cooking, and we use it for skincare,
Mhm.
and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. w- So a lot of people I have heard talking about using beef tallow, or when I actually posted something on my social media back when I was using social media, they were saying, "Oh, I bet you smell and I bet these people don't take baths or showers." Well, I don't. I mean, I wash. I do. But not like every day religiously wash. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Good for
I
you.
I don't think I smell, but
You don't.
the difference between cooking with tallow rendered for cooking versus tallow rendered for skincare is, and eventually I'm going to do a skincare products with tallow in it,
Mhm.
is, you need to render it longer and strain it better to make sure you get all the bits and pieces out. Where my husband just renders it like once and he puts it in a jar. It doesn't even smell that bad then to me. I actually like the smell. Um, we do put it in the fridge for whatever reason. We just throw it in there, but the jars that we leave that aren't open, we leave in the cupboard.
Yeah.
We do go through it pretty fast. But for skincare products, you want to make sure like
It
everything is
is
out. So they do it
tallow
like 3
is shelf
times.
stable.
Yeah, it is. And we go
It
through
just
it so
you just can't
fast.
leave it exposed to oxygen for a long time, then it'll start
Right.
to go.
Right. We just like, I
But
guess
yeah,
because you're
we
so
rinse
used to putting
ours
butter
a
in
lot.
yeah, you know how they
I would say
say put
good.
butter has
What?
to stay in the fridge. Butter has to stay in the fridge. So
It
I think that's
doesn't.
why and I know it doesn't, but that's what I'm saying is because society tells you you have to put things in the fridge. You have to put butter in the fridge. You have to put all these things in the fridge that don't need to be refrigerated. I think that's why we're sticking our butter in the fridge is because we're so used to them saying it needs to go in the fridge that we just put
Mhm.
it in the fridge. Same with our butter. We just put it in the fridge. Doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
So,
There are I don't have we do keep our butter in the fridge, but,
mhm.
I wanna get one of those it's like an upside down cup, and then there's, like, a section for water, and then there's butter. I don't know how it fully works. I forget what it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope, not a clue.
It's like a butter bell or something. I
So
don't
what does
know.
it do exactly?
It just keeps the butter fresh on the shelf. But there's water in part of it, not mixed with the butter. It's just like there's water in one section and then butter in another section. And it stays soft and spreadable and
Mm-mm.
what is that?
S-
I'll have to
s- Speaking of
look it up
butter,
for you.
so we went my mother and I went shopping this past weekend and I found all
Mhm.
these cookwares that I wanted to buy, but I just didn't couldn't carry it around with me because we were doing so much walking. But I don't remember if I sent you the picture of it or not, but I did come across an actual butter churner. The wooden one with the stick.
Mhm.
I wanted to buy it so bad.
Yes. That is a lot of work.
It is. And that's what my mom said. She goes, "Are you really going to do this?" And I'm like, when the kids get bored and they want to just do a bunch of I could just have them each take
I
turns.
I would like to have one on hand just in case,
Mhm.
the whole system comes down and we really are completely rely on what we have and what we can do.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I would
Do
wanna
on a daily
use.
basis.
It's like my hand crank
Mhm.
grain mill, you
Mill.
know? I will use that for 1.5 cups for my kids'
But
pancakes.
not 4 for bread.
Not for making bread, that's insane. So we did get an electric grinder, and I have that for when I'm doing bread and bigger things,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then I have my hand miller just for little jobs.
Yeah, I really
But
wanna go back and get that.
I would not use a butter churn for a little job. That's
Oh, no,
crazy.
it would probably we go through so much butter, though, because that's how
Mhm. We love
we just
butter.
use the heck out of butter. But, the fact that people used to know how to do things like this without thinking twice, like broth
Yeah,
and preserving food and baking bread, and using what they had instead of just throwing it
mhm,
away, um,
yeah.
it's just interesting to me. And what's interesting also is that my husband, he didn't grow up with the same foods at all. I grew up with butter in the fridge, and he grew up with ghee and oil. That's what they
I
used to
love
use.
ghee.
And yet when you really
And
look at it,
what is ghee? So we can explain it to people
so I'm not
now.
100% certain, but I do know that you leave it set out and like it takes the air and or you I think you cook it or
Ghee
something. You melt it down and
is
then it takes
all of
all of
the
the
milk
moisture
and
out of it
margarine.
and then you
Yes.
get this like real rich golden color.
It's
It's good.
lovely.
And
It's
that's
so
shelf
good.
stable as well. And
Yes.
they use it all the time. And they also use this really weird oil that here when you get it, it says do not ingest. I can't think of what it's called.
Not
Um,
adjust in what way?
do not ingest, like do not eat it.
Oh, do
And
not
here he was
ingest. I thought
ingest,
you
yeah, and here he was cooking with it, and I'm like, "Can we?" Can we not? Like, I don't have enough research on this yet. He's like, we're doing it in my country. I'm like, I know, but this is here, and who knows what they added to it here. So then we switched over to ghee and then butter. But yet when you really look at it, the idea is the same, where people cooked with fats that were available to them in their
Mhm.
culture and their climate. And so traditional food doesn't look the same for everybody. And I think sometimes we forget we forget that not everybody's the same when it comes to eating different things.
Yeah. And, and you say that in different parts. So, well, I guess let's explain what tallow is. And tallow is essentially just rendered fat. And
Mhm.
that comes from, I think technically from cattle and sheep is like your typical where you get tallow. But you would get tallow from goats and
Mhm.
elk, antelope, bison, and deer. And then poultry, you can render down poultry fat too, and I think that's referred to as schmaltz. Is it?
I
You don't
I've
know?
never heard of
I
that.
I think it's called schmaltz.
What is that
Um,
used for?
it's
Cooking
used for
too? For, like,
roasting. Yeah,
different cuisines, I guess, or
I guess. Again,
what was
it's,
available to them?
was available.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course you have lard from pigs. But we don't recommend you eat anything that comes from pigs.
Yeah. I
Very
wouldn't for
dirty
sure.
animals. And I know a lot of people do, and again, what you have available, but
Yeah. Yeah, and we actually keep all 3 in our kitchen, tallow, ghee, and butter. Um,
mhm,
the one thing that honestly surprised me was just how normal it became, because at first the ghee concept, or not ghee, the tallow was strange to me.
mhm,
I wanted no part of it because I wasn't familiar with it, and it was new, and it seemed like it was gonna take forever even though I wasn't the one that was doing it. Um, but now it's just another ingredient in our house.
yeah.
So
I didn't eat I didn't eat anything made with it at first. I was fine putting it
that's
on
weird.
my skin, but I'm like, "Oh, I just don't know about eating that." And then my husband's like, Just try it." And I did, and it was fantastic. Not tallow itself, but food cooked with tallow.
Yeah.
Um, it's very good.
Oh, and fries, deep fries and tallow. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Well,
Um, so sometimes when I'm in the grocery store, not sometimes, now it's all the time when if I go to the grocery store, because usually I'll just have them deliver it to me. But now that I've been forcing myself to get out a little bit more often, I'll pick up a box or a bottle and flip it, and the first thing I do is just look at the ingredients. I just
mhm,
want to see what's going on in there and what's happening, because you know, while some of the foods have been around the longest, they don't have lots of ingredients like butter, cream, eggs, beef. You know what they are. And I think that's something
it's simple.
that's worth paying attention to there. And I don't say that out of a place of perfection, because I still buy convenient foods. I was just over here snacking on some popcorn that probably has loads of weird stuff in it. And
Mhm.
I still buy things in packages, but I do find myself asking way more questions now than what I did before. What is this? What's in it? What purpose does this serve? And that's
Yeah,
the question that I would have never asked 20 years ago.
and it's scary. There's, who's that one girl? Is it Food Babe? Where she goes
I
into
have no
all these
idea.
different, like, ingredients, and it's scary what some of these things are.
Yeah.
I just found
Yeah.
out Hidden Valley Ranch, I like their ranch. It
To
has
do.
some kind
It's
of, like,
terrible. They bleach their
preservative
sauce to
in
make it
it
white.
that is it used for automobiles or it's really, really awful stuff, and I'm just like, "I can't believe this. How is it legal to put this in there?" And when you go overseas, like to Europe or somewhere, the same
Mhm.
companies making the same foods are making them
Mhm.
different, and they have less
Yep.
ingredients.
Yep. Yep.
Why? Why can't they
Yep.
make it like that here? Why aren't they forced
Yeah.
to make it like that here?
Because
Nuts.
okay, I don't wanna get into it. Yeah, my husband's country Skittles, they taste nothing like what we have here, but they're the same thing, and they don't have half the ingredients in them that they have here, and their
Yeah.
pop doesn't have half the things that they have here.
Yeah.
And I was shocked when I went over there the first couple of times. I just started grabbing stuff off the shelves. Give me this and give me this because it doesn't have anything in. I'm going to eat more of it and give me this.
You
So
know, it's it's not realistic to fully change everything, to throw everything out in your pantry and to start doing all this stuff at once.
it's not.
It's it's small changes and, getting used to one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Um, and y- you need to realize, everybody needs to realize that the American people are an experiment. We're
Hmm.
being experimented on by all of
We are.
these companies and all these people higher up.
Hmm.
And they're in cahoots with the medical establishment. The
Hmm.
sicker that we become, the more money
Pharmacy.
they make, and we become addicted to these foods that they're making.
Hmm.
Um, so you just have to decide, do you want to be an experiment or, you know, don't you? Do you not?
Yeah.
You just have to make that decision and then start changing your habits.
Yeah. I think we've made food way more complicated than what it needs to be. And I am going to say that, there are those of you out here like, well, I don't have money to do all of it. You don't have to have money. To be honest, sometimes I still buy uh, store-bought butter, and I like Kerrygold and all the high-end ones, but sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to spend all my money on this, and I don't want to buy these silly old Kroger brand butters. Like, it has junk in it. But like I
Mm,
said, when you flip the package over and look at the ingredients, you'd be surprised. I flipped the package over and there was like butter and cream for $1 and some change. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay. And my husband's like, you're buying this junk Kroger butter. And I'm like, look at the ingredients. He goes, oh, well, how do you know those are real ingredients in there? And, because now we're so set to thinking, okay, well, this is, the true brands.
Yeah.
But at least it didn't have other additives in there. So,
Right. So the only thing in that aspect that you need to worry about is what was the cow's diet? And
yeah.
that's gonna tell you if it's nutrient dense at all. And butter
Hmm.
typically is not nutrient dense. Um, even if you get it from like, grass-fed cows. Um,
Hmm.
and then it probably gets more nutritional if you're making it from raw cream, from raw milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, which I have done, and man, is it delicious. It's amazing. My friends have some Amish friends, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to try this butter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Because I had been making butter from raw milk, from raw cream. And I tried it, and it was like a million times better than mine.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "I know I'm doing it all the same way." And they're like, "They do this every single day. Like, they grew up learning how to do this. Of course, theirs is gonna
Yeah.
be the best." And it is. And if you're lucky enough where you live around the Amish, a lot of times, so here in Ohio, I don't think it's legal yet to buy raw milk. Like, you have to purchase part of the cow in order to get raw milk. Um, right?
What do you mean?
That like
No,
a
you can
milk.
buy raw milk. There's tons of milk shares here. There's one 2 hours away that I've been wanting to go to, but they have to
Yes.
have on the label for not for consumption.
Oh, I see. I thought it was that you were purchasing part of the cow and then you are able to get milk from it because you owned part of that cow. Isn't that
That
how
could
they
be it
own it?
too, because I'm not for sure how that works, to be exact. I just saw that this place was a herd share company, but you can just go online and buy like a gallon of milk.
Hmm.
But it said
Nice.
they have to put that label on there, not for
Not for
consumption.
consumption.
Like that oil that Omar used to buy that kind of scared me.
Yeah,
But
but this you would consume. And raw milk is so
yes,
good for you.
yes.
Obviously, when you get
Um,
a clean source, but yeah, it's very good for you.
yeah, you want to know where it's coming from and make sure that
Mhm.
they're clean and they keep
And
their
what else is
stuff
good for
clean.
you, Mira? Fat is good for you, right?
It's very good for you. Very good for you.
So fat is, I mean, it gives us energy. It gives us the material that we need for cell membranes. It's vital for brain health.
Mhm.
Um, what else? It helps with your absorption of vitamins A,
Mhm.
D, E, and K, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And,
you do some research on it, but I'm pretty certain that those are vital vitamins that we need for ultimate health, you know?
oh, I thought you were saying something else.
No, I'm just
Yes.
I'm just overwhelmed. I just
It is a lot. It is a lot. While you were saying that, I kept thinking I wanted to go back real quick and touch on you were talking about how to know what source they're eating from so that you know what you're getting when you buy from the store, and that could be very overwhelming as well. And we just want people to start small, do one thing.
just
So
so
even if
small.
that means cutting down and buying the cheaper brand that just has the 2 ingredients, at least it's 2 ingredients and not added other stuff that shouldn't be in there in the
Yeah.
butter. As you get better at identifying what sources or what to use, then you can figure out what sources those animals are eating
And when
from and
it
stuff like that.
Yeah, and when it
Yeah.
works in your budget, like, I don't
Yeah.
always make my own butter.
Mhm.
When I do use a food processor, I don't use a butter churn. Um, but I buy the grass-fed butter that I use for, daily things, putting on bread and giving bites to, whoever wants it. And then I do buy the Kroger butter for when I'm doing baking and stuff, because that's just a lot of butter and a lot of money. So, I do buy the Kroger brand also.
Yeah. And for me, it all around, it starts with protein. As I'm going to go there again, as we age and get into our 40s and start hitting that perimenopause, or if we've been in it for a while, it's all about the protein. Eggs, beef, chicken, fish. That for me, that's
It's
become more
it's
important
all
as I've
about the
gotten older
productivity because we need it for our
because
brains.
strength because strength matters, muscle
It does.
matters, and
It
being
does.
able to stay active matters. And then with what you were just saying is I use butter, ghee, or tallow to cook those things in.
Yeah.
So I will cook my fish in butter. I will cook my chicken in butter. I will cook my beef in butter or fat or ghee or whatever it is that I'm using when I'm making those. I
And
just don't use as
and
much as I used to.
there's some oils too. Avocado oil and coconut oil we use for cooking. And then olive oil, I like to dip my bread in and that sort of thing. And those are high in fats, but good
Olive
fats.
oil is a really good for yeah, dipping and stuff. And we use strictly avocado oil, and sometimes we'll use coconut oil like if I'm making popcorn like you were just asking me about. Do you do your own popcorn? Yeah, when I feel like it. I'll use coconut oil to pop my popcorn in. Yeah.
We have to, yeah. So we make our own, we pop our own popcorn. So
Mhm.
we don't have a microwave anymore, you know?
Yay.
Can't do microwavable popcorn, which is horrible for you. And
It
it's so
is.
fun. It's so fun to pop your own. And that
It
we
is
do
fun
with
to pop your own.
the grass-fed butter. I put a ton of it in there, and we have, kids take turns, turning the pot and let it, as it's popping and stuff.
Oh, you have
And
an
then I
actual
put
popcorn maker?
on, huh? Yeah.
You have a popcorn maker? Oh, we just use our big old
It's a
cooking
pot that
pot.
you put on the
Shape
stove. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a pot that you put on the stove, but it has a turner on it, and it's got
Oh,
this
okay.
thing in there that's moving all of the popcorn around.
Well, that seems easier than me standing there and taking it off the heat and shaking it when it starts
Yeah,
popping. I can't put it all the way back down on the heat.
it is, it's great. Um, and then I put a ton of our Baja Gold mineral salt on it
Yum.
too,
Love it.
and then it becomes, and especially too, if you make your own, you can get, good varieties from, or good popcorn from heirloom varieties
Mhm.
that has nutrition in it. And
Yeah.
then you're adding the butter and then adding the mineral salt. And here you've got, and
Yeah.
my kids will eat it
Perfect snack.
all day long.
Continuous.
And I'm just
Yeah.
looking at them like, yeah, like look at all the nutrition you're getting in that stuff. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so simple.
Everybody has different ways of doing things, and it's just so unique to me. So when I look at traditional kitchens around the world, that the one thing that stands out to me is not being a perfectionist
Mhm.
or, nowadays romanticizing some version of the past of how it used to be. It's just people doing the most of what they had and knowing where their food came from and knowing how to prepare it and how to feed their families.
Yeah, and it's fun to get into. It's
It
overwhelming and
is.
can be scary at first, and again, like, when you're going to, like, eat tallow. And one more thing I wanna say about tallow real quick. People didn't just use tallow to cook food and for skincare, but they also used it for, like, leather, for, keeping leather in good condition
Hmm.
and making candles. Um, Tallow also has some medicinal uses, we're not gonna get into that today. Um and also for preserving. So tallow does
Oh, wow.
all kinds of things. Um, but yeah, so just get into it, start small, experiment.
Hmm.
Don't rely on it. A big thing that I do is I'll go, okay, we're done with this. And we're moving straight into this. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I just know that it's the best way to do it. Um, And then it's very overwhelming for myself, and then it becomes very overwhelming for my family because they're like, you know, "Mom's going crazy, and we're wanting
Yeah.
this, but we can't have it."
Yeah, because she's on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But the more you get into it also, it just becomes a staple in your house, and then after a while, you'll start noticing, "Oh, I have tallow, I can use this. I don't have to run to the store for that," or you'll just start noticing more and more
And
things.
and it does seem like a lot of work, but once you get the skill of doing it, and once you get the habit of doing it and knowing, what time to apply to certain things,
Second nature.
it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
your
does.
kitchen becomes like a store because you'll end up like hanging pots because you'll have all these different things that, you accumulate over time. And I've
Mhm.
got all my wooden spoons hanging now and, different funnels and canning things and all kinds of stuff. And it becomes decorations. And you've got a little primitive kitchen and it's awesome.
And then it makes you wanna get in there and do even more.
It does.
You cut out.
It's like in your face. It's like, I need to do this. I need to
"Oh,
do
you heard me.
that.
It's delayed." Yes, it does.
Huh?
Well, before we go, we wanna leave you with this. You're cutting out. I think we're lagging, but I'm just gonna continue.
Oh,
So before we
really?
leave, we want to leave you all with this. The next time you're at the grocery store, turn over a box or a bottle or a can and read the ingredients. Do you know what they are? Do you recognize them? That's it. Just start paying attention. You might be surprised what you notice. Next week, we're talking about nourishment. We'll be talking about bone broths, traditional stocks, mineral rich foods, living salts, and how previous generations turned scraps, bones, and overlooked ingredients into nourishment. I can never speak at the
Yeah.
end. We love to have you as part of Womenfolk Revival community, so follow the podcast wherever you're listening. Leave us a review if you've been enjoying these conversations, and don't forget to like, follow, and share this episode with someone who loves traditional skills, slow living, and the wisdom that helped families thrive for generations. Until next time,
Hey, I just want to say real quick, Mira. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm changing it up. Talk to your doctors. Fat is good for you, but if you have underlying health conditions, maybe it's not so good for you right now. So talk to your doctors before you jump in and just start eating loads of fat. Um, but yes, until then, stay
loads of
rooted.
fat.
Stay rooted and stay wild.
Stay wild.